So good morning everybody. Myself Acharya vishvendra आज एक क्वेश्चन आंसर डिस्कस कर रहा हूँ मास का क्वेश्चन प्रोजेक्टाइल मोशन का है। तो आपने प्रोजेक्टाइल को फायर किया रीजन से 10 to 100 मीटर सेकंड पर सेकंड एंगल ऑफ रोटेशन इज 37 degree. It moves to the parabolic path OAB and we have to calculate certain parameters related to this particular projectile motion. So let's begin. The first question is initial horizontal velocity on x-axis. So you can see that this is 100, so this projection will be 100 cos 37. And this projection will be 100 sin 37. Initially along x-axis velocity will be 100 cos 37. Cos 37 is 4 by 5, so that will be 20 into 4 or 80 meter per second. The initial velocity along x-axis. Then we have to find initial velocity along y-axis, so that will be 100 sin 37. So this is 100. 37 is 3 by 5, so that is 16 meter per second. Next question is this is a simple question. This is minus c or minus 10 meter per second, and this is vertically upward. So these are the values of these parameters. Next question is time from O to A. So time from O to A, we can calculate that initially along y-axis velocity is 60, and at A, y velocity will be 0. So velocity initial final of y-axis are known. So we can use v is equal to u plus 80. Final velocity is 0. This is 60 acceleration minus 10 into let's say times t1. So if we calculate t1 will be 60 seconds. So 60 seconds aa jayega. Next is from A to B. So from A to B we can say that if we analyze the time from O to B. So from O to B we can say that displacement will be 0 on the y-axis. Because at O it is having y is equal to 0, and at B also it is having y is equal to 0. So time displacement of y axis will be 0. So we can say that using second equation of motion, we can say that displacement of y will be this is your 60 into t minus half into 10 into t square. So if we solve it, it is 60 into t minus 5t square. So 60t is equal to 5t square. From here we can say that t will be 60 by 5, which is 12 meter. And you can see that this is just double of 60. So the time will be double, which is also the case when there is no concern of the retardation due to the reflection. Then we have question time from A to B. So we can say that time from O to B will be equal to time from O to A plus time from A to B. So this is your 12, this is your 6, this is your time from A to B. So from here you can analyze the time from A to B is 12 minus 6, which is equal to 6 seconds. So this is how we can analyze. Now is another question that under what condition time is maximum. So this time if we calculate using moment theta, this is 2 sin theta by t, and this is maximum when theta is equal to 90 degree. This we can analyze mathematically the graphs of t and theta. Similarly, if you draw the t theta graph, so the graph will be like this, and it will achieve maximum at theta is equal to 90 degrees. So that will be the t theta graph, and this point will corresponds to 2 by. Then we have height. So maximum height here is u square sin square theta by 2g, or u by r square by 2g. So vertical velocity initially 60, so that will be 60 square by 2 into 10. 60 square is 3600, this is 20. So after calculations we have 180 meter as the maximum height. Then we have a theta graph. Suppose if we project the projectile at an angle of theta, so we have h is equal to u square sin square theta by 2g. So we have a variation of sin square theta. So similarly graph will be like this, and it will achieve maximum at theta is equal to 90 degrees. So we can say this. Next is r theta graph. So r as a function of theta is u square sin 2 theta by 2. So if you draw r theta graph, it will be a sine graph like this, and it will achieve maximum at 45 degree, and maximum value here will be u square by 2. So this is analysis of r theta. Then we have h by r. So if we substitute the values, h by r comes out to be 10 theta by 4, and we can say that if 10 theta is equal to 4, or theta is equal to 10 inverse of 4, which roughly is equal to 76 degrees, then h is equal to 1. So it is from the question we asked that at what angle height is equal to the range. So it is at 10 inverse, approximately 76. Then as we need to find the final velocity, so we know that the vertical component is reverses itself. So we can say that the velocity is horizontal is constant 80I, vertical reverse is minus 50. Now we are in the last question, the second last question, change in velocity. So we can say that we calculate final velocity. So that will be 80I minus 60 minus initial velocity will be 80I plus 60. So if we calculate it, that will be minus 120J. And if you find velocity at the topmost point, so at the topmost point, the vertical velocity is 0. So we have only the horizontal velocity, which is 80I. So these are the possible answers, possible questions based on projectile motion. So the concept here is that we give you a question, and most of the theory related to the question's various terms are done in the question itself, so that you are more productive and you are more focused on problem solving skills rather than transferring, rather than first of all reading theory, then converting that into formats and then implementing into the questions. So the benefit of doing question answer session is that you do theory, practice, examples, questions on the one, in the same video at the same time. So you know how to correct things, you know how to get answers. Because when you solve a particular question, you need to have a very sharp memory, you need to have good retention. Because within a few, you can say a few minutes, in NEET there is a time of about 80 seconds. In JNN, it's let's say about 2 minutes. In the advanced, 3 minutes, something like that. But the main thing of concern is when you solve a particular question, your information processing system, your memory should work in a very systematic way. You should be able to connect different things. You should be able to use different parts of the brain, and coordination between mind and brain should be well managed, and obviously you need to manage your emotions, emotional conflicts, anxiety, etc. So to put things into proper perspectives, you need to get adapted to the high frequency environment when you solve questions. And the best way to do that is training yourself, training your mind and system to be adapted to the high frequency environment of solving a number of questions. Initially, you will feel resistance from your mind and system because if you increase the frequencies of the brain waves, initially your brain will activate the flight mode. You will try to escape from solving the questions, but here is the thing: if you will flight, then your mind and system will learn that you have to flight when there are stressful situations, when there is a difficult situation, when there is need of high frequency waves, and you cannot bypass that. So always to remember whatever is happening within you, there is a system within you which is storing everything. Every process that you are doing, every neural process, every physiological and psychological process, every neural connections, every emotion, your struggle, your efforts, everything is being recorded by someone. And that something is not in your control. So if you want to crack the exam with flying colors, just work on your true self, just work on your own efficiency, just work within your optimal frequency. Don't try to be fake, don't try to put a mask on your face, just practice fearlessly and test yourself fearlessly. And just accept your capabilities, your present mind and system, and hope that if you will work furiously, you will do hard work, you will work in a way, you will adapt to the situations to the high frequencies, and certainly you will improve. But performance is always stressful, getting answers is always stressful, giving solutions is always stressful. So just be sure that when you will be, you will start working on an problem, then there will be confusions, there will be anxiety issues, there will be emotional issues. But if you are determined enough, if you are bold enough that you can bear the brunt of those things, then certainly you can perform better and crack, read and enjoy with flying colors. If you have any doubt, you can ask in the comment section. Thank you and have a nice day.